Elden Ring is probably one of the most influential games to come out in the recent time. But despite it being a very casual friendly game compared to other Soulsborne games, the game still doesn't divulge its secrets that easily. Even when you complete the game and reach a conclusion, you end up wondering, wait a minute, what did I even achieve in this one playthrough? So here we are today with one mission in mind to help you understand the many different endings of the Elden Ring. This game has three different main endings, but today we are going to discuss the basic and the vanilla ending of you becoming the Elden Lord. This is the final battle. The Elden Beast is finally on the ground, and this is your moment. You draw your great sword and put the beast out of its misery. Congratulations. Now you are the Lord of the land. And as you usurp the power previously held by Queen Marika and the Earth Tree, here comes the fork in the road. During the course of the game, you, the Tarnished, would come across several opportunities to form a Mending Rune. Mending Rune is a rune you acquire during the playthrough which attempts to fix one particular flaw plaguing the lands between. If you don't use any such special Mending Rune, you get the Age of the Fracture ending. In this timeline, you usurp the power of the Elden Ring, becoming a vassal of the Greater Will without changing anything. You impose your own order on the lands between, but the world, its problems and its flaws, they remain the way as they were before your arrival. You are still a pawn of the Greater Will. The order you rule is still subject to the fickleness of the vassal of the Greater Will. Omens and those who live under death are still hunted. Their repression continues. The world is the same. The master is the same. Only the whip of the master has changed. This ending ensures the cycle of chaos and strife would continue as we do not fix the underlying problems. And as a tree with rotten inside would eventually fall down on the ground, one day our regime too would come to a violent end. But there are other ways to fix the flaws of the current order. One of those fixes would lead us to the ending of the Age of the Order. We herald the lands between into the Age of the Order by following the lead of the scholar and philosopher, the Gold Mask. Gold Mask would find a fatal flaw in the Golden Order. It was the independence, it was the fickleness, it was the recklessness of the gods. Gold Mask would find a fatal flaw in the order, which was the independence, the fickleness, and the recklessness of the gods. To make sure the order doesn't get tainted by these imperfections of the vassal of the Greater Will again, Gold Mask would try to perfect the Golden Order by removing the fickleness, the ambitions, by removing the very will of the gods itself, so that these vassals of the Greater Will would not deviate from the desires of their overlord. And so the order would be perfect. I mean, it's in the name itself, right? It must be the correct ending then, right? Right? Think again. We know that Greater Will is just one of the many eldritch beings jousting for the control of the lands between. Who is to tell? Whatever the designs of the Greater Will is for the lands between, they are totally benign. Yes, the fickleness and the free will of the gods leads to chaos and conflict, but it also allows them to resist the absolute commands of the Greater Will. Maybe Queen Marika's anger, her sadness, or perhaps her fickleness led to the shattering of the Elden Ring. But what if she had realized it was best for everyone else? Maybe the Golden Order was not as benign as they made it out to be, we will never know. But one thing we do know is that the Order was not open to everyone, and for some inhabitants, it was outright a sin to exist. And nothing was more true for those who live in the death. When Godwin the Golden was assassinated on the Night of Long Knives, something unusual happened. Due to plotting by Rani, Godwin was not able to die a true death, leaving him to be a soulless husk, leaving him to be a mutant, leaving him to continue existing within death, becoming the prince of death. His death and subsequent burial would lead to the appearance of Deathroot in the lands between. These Deathroot would cause anyone who would come into the contact of it to become those who live in death, a type of undead, if you will. These are the beings who refused to heed the call of Earth Tree to return to its fold on their death, and thus they trespass beyond life's bound, violating the sacred Golden Order. And to rectify this violation, the Order would task the hunters like D, the hunter of death, it's in the name, to exterminate these transgressors to the very last. But what if you see something in them that only few others did? What if you realized that those who live in the death do not choose to be the way they are? They merely exist because a law in the Order, and thus have all the right to exist. A sentiment you share with Roger and Fia, and thus to remedy this injustice you use the mending rune of the Death Prince and usher the lands between into the age of Duskborn. In this timeline, you led those who live in the death back to the fold of the Order. There is no difference between living or dead. In fact, under the Order of Death Restored, death is considered a natural extension of living itself. Congratulations! You managed to save those living the death, but what about others? Like, what about omens? Well, in a twisted sense of justice, if you can't remove the suffering of omens, you can make everyone suffer like an omen. In the ending, the blessing of despair, you do exactly that. By using the mending rune of the fell curse, you curse the life itself. You curse the Order so that the next children, their children's children will all bear the curse of the fellow men. If everyone is cursed, no one is. But don't be fooled by the promise of a twisted justice. This ending is meant to inflict as much suffering as possible, an ending so vile that it makes the lands between as it is right now a paradise. Thank you for watching the video. I tried my best to explain the endings and did my best to make sure I didn't make any mistakes. But if I was wrong, or if you have different interpretations of these endings, please feel free to share in the comment section. You might wonder that the ending of Blessing of the Despair was a bit shorter compared to others. It's because that ending is too brutal for me, and I have not done that myself, and I will never do that ever, because we all know the only ending which matters is the one where you have a maiden with you. I stream on twitch.tv/AlvinGrim. Come over there if you're interested in chatting or just maybe enjoying me suffer. I might be streaming Dark Souls 2 right now. With that, like, share and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.